Well, I'm back as I promised. I said I was going to start posting more content. I'm going to keep this kind of short, not very long, but I just wanted to see if people were aware of what's really going on at the southern border. Today, I found out that a small town in Tennessee had a couple busloads of illegals that were dropped off in their town, and leaving them with the responsibility of finding them some place to live, make sure they had food to eat. Um, None of these people can speak English, so I mean, it's going to be very interesting. I hope they have an interpreter. Uh, what people need to understand, this is not just people from South America, it's not just people from Mexico that are crossing the border. If you can fog a mirror and you can get across here, they're obligated to take care of them and send them to wherever. And basically, what they're doing is every city, every town has become a border city. And people that don't live in Texas or don't live in New Mexico, Louisiana, they don't really understand what's going on here, but they're about to find out. People in Tennessee certainly found out. This is what they were doing back when Obama was president. ICE was basically told to stand down, and then instead of defending the border, they basically became babysitters for these people and making sure that they got on buses and sent to wherever on these unsuspecting towns, and putting the burden on the state and on these towns and cities to take care of these people. Now, what I'm seeing, this sounds like the Cloward Pittman Act being played out right in front of us, even more so on steroids. Because what they're going to do, they overload the system, their intention is to collapse it, and then from the ashes of this collapsed system, they believe they could bring in this socialist utopia, and it's never worked anywhere. I don't know why they think it'll work here. I've always had this theory that the reason why these social clowns, socialist clowns that make up the Democratic Party, they believe that socialism could actually work, and the only reason it hasn't worked is because people that didn't have their intellect tried to make the system work. They think that they can make it work because they're so much more enlightened and so much more brilliant than anybody else. The fact of the matter is, uh, when you give people something for nothing, and when people find out that they can live the same quality of life as uh, without working as those that do, I mean, what's the incentive to work? There isn't any. We're seeing this being played out right now. I see help wanted signs all over the place now that the economy's opening back up. And during this pandemic, that's exactly what it was, a pandemic, that all of these businesses that shut down, these people definitely needed, and a stipend to survive. But now that it's everything's opening up and they're still on the public dole, there's no incentive for them to go back to work. And up until June 28th, the Fed has been adding an extra $300 a week on top of the regular employment that people are getting. So why would you go back to working a 16, 17, 18 hour, $18 an hour job when you can get the same amount of money for not doing anything at all? Uh, the only thing and it's dragging the economy down because now everything becomes so much more expensive. They've already diluted the money supply with all this COVID relief. Trillions of dollars they spent. Think of our monetary system like a bowl of punch. Okay, it's all nice and red and it tastes sweet. It's got the fruity flavor, but what if you start adding water to that punch? And you just keep adding it a little bit at a time. Well, it's not quite as red anymore, not quite as sweet, but you just keep doing it. Next thing you know, it ain't red punch anymore. It becomes a pinkish color, and it doesn't taste anything like punch. And that's what they're doing to our monetary system. They've expanded our monetary supply by 25% just by typing a few numbers on a computer screen. And what that does is it dilutes the money already in circulation. I'm sure if any of y'all that are awake and you've been to the grocery store lately, you see exactly what I'm saying. I mean, things are getting higher. I went to buy some the very same steaks that I bought even 6 months ago. They're like 35 to 40% higher now than they were just then, and that's just meat. That doesn't include, vegetables and stuff. Everything's getting is becoming more expensive, and one of the reasons is because they've inflated the currency, and number two, there's a bottleneck of goods getting to the stores because there's not anybody, there's not enough people, enough workers to help stock stuff, and because they don't have to go back to work yet. And then when you throw in the illegals that are being allowed to, where they're just being bussed wherever, and city budgets are being stretched to the limit. I mean, they already lost a lot of sales tax just because of COVID. You can't collect sales tax unless you can sell stuff. And there were so many businesses shut down, so there's a loss of revenue. They're already jacking property taxes up here in the Plano, the DFW area. We're talking like anywhere from 15 to 20%. Your house didn't gain value during that time. They're just adding a little extra because their budgets are running short. I don't know if you understand. I know a lot of you do. A lot of y'all that see my videos know that money was supposed to have an intrinsic value. That means that it was, if you could take, back in the day, you used to be able to take $1 is the unit of measurement. So many grains of gold, so many grains of silver equaled $1. Or if you look at your dollar bill, it says Federal Reserve note. If you look at Black's Law Dictionary, note means debt, like promissory note, house note, car note. Since every dollar or Federal Reserve note is borrowed into creation, and it has interest attached to it, where does the money come from to ever pay off the debt? It doesn't exist. You can't pull 11 marbles out of a bag that only has 10. I don't care how good of a magician you think you are. So as they dilute our monetary system, and they're bringing more and more people in that are dependent on the system, well, it's going to collapse. It's just a matter of time. And what I see that really scares me is that men today, they have become so domesticated that they have no survival skills. How many men do you know that could skin a buck and run a trot line? How many people could actually grow a farm? How many grow their own food? How many people could build a hydroponic little farm? We lack the skills. Most of the people they have no clue. Fortunately, I know some guys that they're still old school, and they know how to. I mean, they could take a .22 rifle and they could hunt squirrel. I mean, they could hunt rabbit, they could hunt deer, and they could feed their family. They could live off the grid just fine because they're real men. I've been trying to learn everything I can from them, and I've been picking up some survival tips, which you can find a lot of stuff on YouTube about it. But people are going to get caught, and they're going to be totally unaware as to how this happened. They're going to be sitting on the curb, their little heads in their hands, wondering when the government's going to come and save them. They're not going to. There's too many of us. Too many of them, and too many of these people that are totally clueless. How many men could actually feed their family when the feces hits the ocellated blades? I would beg to differ that it's not any less than 95%. So anyway, that's all I'm gonna do right now. I do have a couple of really good resources that you guys ought to check out. John Navarro at the Anomic Age. This guy's really sharp. He's had some incredible whistleblowers. He's a great interviewer, and he's self-funded. He does all this on his own, and I support him whenever I can financially. And then there is John B. Wells and his show. He's got a syndicated show on the radio called Arc the Midnight. And it's kind of a watered down version of Caravan to Midnight. Caravan to Midnight is a subscription page. And it costs you $60 a year, and you get access to like over 1,500 shows of the most incredible guests, the most incredible whistleblowers, people that's done an incredible amount of research, whose shoulders I've been standing on since I had my epiphany 10 years ago. And John B. Wells was huge in getting me to the place that I am now. And for $5 a month, you can get access to all of his old shows, even to his old Arc the Midnight shows as well. And it's a great place for source material. It's just like John Navarro's page is. It's just chock full of information, stuff that people need to know. So anyway, I'm going to shut it down right now. I got my next video. I want to talk about this UFO disclosure and how that's all been planned out. And isn't it kind of funny how all these years the government just demonized and marginalized anybody that talked about it, and same thing with whistleblowers. And now all of a sudden they're leaking a little bit out at a time. Pentagon leaked footage of a unidentified flying object that was doing maneuvers that is totally outside the realm of anything that we allegedly have. And but now people are like, oh well, if the government says that this is real now, well now I believe it. And my question would be, what other crap have they been lying to us about? And they've been keeping us in the dark. I always say that our government treats us like toadstools. They keep us in the dark and feed us shit. Pardon my French. Anyway, talk to you guys later.